Hey watch friends, as promised in my recent review of the Mako Titanium, I wanted to go ahead and make a video to help out current as well as prospective Mako buyers. So as you may be familiar, and if you caught that review, which if you haven't, that probably means you're not subscribed, so I do encourage you to hit that button, have new content coming all the time. But as you may be familiar, the Zelos Mako has been a very popular model. It's one of their early models, been a smash hit. It's gone through 3 generations now, and we can get into debate about that as far as number of generations. But this one we're looking at today, these are all variations of what's referred to as the Mako V3, and we'll talk about that a little more. Originally, this one came out and it was featured in what's pictured here in the middle. This is 316L stainless steel. Shortly after, there was the release of what a lot of people refer to as the V3.5 or version 3.5, and we'll talk about the reason for that. But as part of that batch, it came out with a bronze model as well, so this is CUSN 8 bronze. And then just most recently, the third one that's still considered part of the V3 series is this one that we looked at recently, and this is the Grade 2 titanium model. So there is a little more that goes on with each of these than just the change in materials, and that's part of what I wanted to highlight for it. So first, let's talk about the V3 versus 3.5, which both of these really fall into the 3.5 category. The main things that changed with this is first, it went from early on, the bracelet was optional, so this stainless did not include a bracelet with it. That was available, and it was a $49, I believe, accessory at the time. However, when the V3.5 came out, it came out with the one that we probably are more familiar with now, which is this version, which has the toeless micro adjustment. This bumped the price up, so first, the V3.5 stainless did come standard with this bracelet, so it bumped the price of the watch up. But this was available as a separate accessory for around $89, so the price went up a bit, but well worth it in my opinion for the toeless micro adjustment. So that was one of the changes that went on between the two, and to me, that was one of the most noteworthy. Additionally, the case back on these changed, and I talked about that a little bit in the titanium review as well. People complained on the original version that the Mako, and we'll flip this around and look at it, but that the Mako was a little bit sharp on the back of the version 3. So on the 3.5, the edges were smoothed a little bit, still basic, same appearance, but that was the other update. Other than that, not a whole lot really changed between the models. One thing though that I did note is you'll see the dial configuration, the markers, the bezels, everything about these is going to be pretty similar. There are going to be a number of colors that are available in each of these, so don't just go by this appearance here. But one of the things that did change is the available options. So on this first version, or the original V3, there were a few different ones that had this chapter ring that you can see, and all 3 of these feature the chapter ring, and all of these are going to be dual loomed. But what makes this one kind of special is this actually had a full loom chapter ring as well. That's why this one has kind of an orangish, a sherbet white appearance to that. That was actually conspicuously missing on the titanium version. So all of those are going to have loomed chapter rings, and you can see they look very similar, if not the same, between these two. The text is BGW9 on that, but the actual chapter ring itself does not have loom applied to it. So this one will glow very brightly and is very usable. These two are more of an accent, as we talked about in the titanium review. And if you want to see loom footage, you can check that one out to see what that looks like. And I have earlier reviews of this also. But that's one thing. The 3.5 did have a couple available. This one I believe had 3. This one I believe had 2. And then now that's no longer available. Not a big loss, but just something to be aware of as far as the changes there. Otherwise, they're going to have the same basic configuration. With each of these, you're going to have C3 as your prominent loom, and that's going to be on all of your markers, your hour hand, and your minute hand. And then each of these is going to have your second hand with BGW9, and then as we talked about, the chapter ring, either full here, which this actually is not BGW9. This is more of like an orangish color. It's kind of like a tinted C3. And then on these ones, it's going to be BGW9 for the chapter ring as well. But the big thing that I really wanted to look at with these is what is the difference? You know, fundamentally, if you are a new buyer or if you already own one of these variants, is it worth taking the plunge and going for the titanium? What's it like to live with them? What are the different characteristics of these watches? So first off, what is the difference in overall appearance? If you're not familiar with or don't have a lot of experience, let's go ahead and set the bronze aside. And we'll first look at these two. If you don't have a lot of experience with stainless versus titanium, a lot of people will describe a titanium as being more of like a gunmetal hue, whereas you get a little bit, you can call it warmer, you can call it softer, whatever you want to characterize it. There's a little more luster that you'll find on the stainless. And I think the same thing is true here. So first, as we did talk about in this video with the Mako, or with the titanium Mako rather, this one does have a coating on it. So this is raw, this is going to be coated. I haven't found it change the appearance too awful much when we looked at that versus other titanium uncoated pieces, so I suspect it probably is clear. But one thing that you'll notice here is first, for finishing, you can see this one actually has linear brushing on the case, and it goes horizontal, so it runs the length of the case. Conversely, the titanium actually goes, it's still linear, but it goes for vertical brushing on the side. What I found, and that's the same, it's going to be the same between the bronze and the stainless. The bronze and stainless are virtually identical in all respects, so we'll look at those for comparisons, but these are really going to be the main differences to note here. One thing that I have found with this is it does, to me, visually, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's actual dimensions or if it's just an illusion, but this looks a little slimmer in the mid case to me than the stainless does. But additionally, I had a viewer comment, and I've noticed the same as well, that the titanium almost looks a little more dull, a little more coarse than this. And I have found, to me, the machining lines are a little more pronounced, but most importantly and significantly, you can probably see here, the stainless does have noticeably more luster to it. So if you're looking for more of a polish, more of a dress diver, more of a refined look, I think you get more of that from the stainless than you do from the titanium. So I would say that would lean you towards the stainless. However, what if you're a weight person? We talked about these the weight differences in the full review, but the weight on this, if you throw this on the stainless bracelet and you have this unsized, and you have the titanium bracelet and that's unsized, it's a pretty huge difference. This one, the stainless is coming in at almost 180 grams, 179 grams, whereas the titanium model is coming in at just over 131 grams. So you're looking at roughly a 48 gram difference, which is pretty huge, especially at the weights that we're talking about here. So if you're one who really likes to feel a watch, then I think you're going to be a little happier with the stainless. It's not overly chunky, it's not overly heavy on the wrist. I don't think it causes much wrist fatigue or anything along those lines, but it is noticeably more watch on your wrist as far as the way that it wears. Conversely, if you're somebody who likes to forget a little more about your watch, likes a lighter watch out there, I think titanium's absolutely the way to go in that respect, because it does certainly save you a good bit of weight. Additionally, appearance-wise, we already talked about the luster. I think that's going to be a big factor for people too. If you want a little more flash, definitely go stainless. If you want a little more subdued, a little more sporty, I think go with the titanium. And as a benefit for this titanium, whereas the 316L stainless steel, compared to grade 2, does have a little better scratch resistance in raw form, this one with its coating takes the Vickers up to 1200, which is going to be on par with your ceramic. So this should be much more scratch resistant than the stainless steel, which might be a little bit counterintuitive there. So if you're looking for durability and lightweight, definitely go titanium. If you're looking for dressier or a little more heft, go for the stainless. So where does that leave the bronze in this mix? Bronze is interesting. Bronze is one of those things that you kind of either love it or you hate it. This starts off with a very rose gold appearance to it. So out of the box, it's not going to have that pure gold coloration. And if you notice the handset, while it is gilded, this is actually going to be gilded with a rose gold as opposed to a traditional gold coloration there. So less yellow, more warm of rose pink coloration. What happens with that, though, is as this ages, it will develop what's referred to as patina. So it forms an oxidation layer, and that can get some really interesting effects. You can get everything ranging from like a purple iridescent hue to that. You can get browns, you can get greens, you can get all different coloration. So one of the things that I've noticed and that I personally feel with bronze, if you're looking for warmth, while coloration, the stainless may arguably have more luster and more warmth. If you're looking for actual life in your watch, I don't think you can beat bronze. Bronze really, to me, it takes on your experience with it. So as you wear it, it ages with you. It is developing its own unique characteristics. No bronze piece is going to be the same. So regardless of what configuration you choose, regardless of the setting you're in, it may age in patina quickly, it may age in patina slowly, but it's always going to be developing with you, and that's always going to be unique. And that's something that I really appreciate with bronze. As far as weight, the bronze is going to be the heaviest of the three. But I will tell you, in my opinion, especially on any kind of just standard strap as opposed to running on a bracelet, which this one did not standard have a bracelet option available, though we'll talk about that further. The difference here between these, to me, is going to be pretty negligible. Whereas this, especially on bracelet, you do notice definitely going over to the titanium versus the stainless. I don't really think going back and forth between stainless or bronze, with especially on a strap, that you're really going to notice or appreciate the weight. So not too big of a deal there. But on that topic, let's go ahead and set those aside and actually bring these straps back, or these bracelets back in. So first, let's look at the bracelet, get another angle here. And this is stainless here that we're looking at. And these are going to be, as I mentioned in the video, so this is titanium bracelet. Both of these do have stainless clasps, but the clasp on the stainless steel bracelet is going to be the first generation, which has a bead blast in the middle and then brushing along the exterior, whereas this is going to be full brushed. Additionally, another difference is this one is coated, so this will doubly, in my opinion, wear better. It also smoothed out. This has the sticker on it, as you can see there, because this is a new bracelet here. But this one is going to be noticeably sharper, whereas this is very, very smooth. I will say this is my favorite of the mix, not just the coating, but overall appearance. I do like this better, but both of them have the same great toeless adjust. But you can see kind of the difference in the warmth here between these. I don't think it's as noticeable on the bracelet. I think it's much more noticeable on the case, but hopefully this gives you a little better of an idea. But one thing that is now available so this is a Zelos Swordfish 40. There is now, and this is not the version, it will look like this, but there is now a version of this bracelet that's available that you can go with straight end links that will work. So unfortunately it does not have fitted end links, but it will work for the Mako. So you can now have a bronze with a bracelet if you choose. That will be the heaviest of the bunch, but it does develop that full life to it because this is a real bronze bracelet. So this gives you an idea as to what that would be like as well. Back on the topic of the bracelets and noticing these end links. One of the things that I talked about, let's look at those end links here. You can see these as far as appearance, it's not that noticeable for the difference, but look at how that steps down. So on the titanium, you can see it's high in the middle and then actually fully steps down on the ends, whereas this is kind of straight and smooth across. What that results in is you do have on the titanium model, you have a little more of a noticeable lip both on the lug as well as on the case itself. Whereas on the stainless steel model, this one actually butts straight in there and it's almost a perfect end mating. I'm not really sure what the reasoning for that change was, but that is something to note. That is a difference between those versions. So fundamentally, where does that leave us if you are a new buyer or if you currently have one of these and you're thinking about upgrading to the titanium? You know, at this point in the video, if you haven't already made up your mind, if there's none of these characteristics that really jump out at you that are must-haves, then I would say, honestly, you're fine with just sticking with the current. I don't think this is a must-buy, in my opinion. However, if you don't currently have a Mako and you're looking at all three options that are available, or if you just like the features that are out there for the titanium, what is my verdict or what would be my pick in 2021 now having the three options? I've got to say, personally, I'd go for the titanium. I love the fact that it now has the coating. I love the weight that you get with this overall. I think it had great colorway options that are available for it. So overall, I do think, to me, the upgraded clasp, all the different features and characteristics of this, I do think the titanium is personally the best of the bunch. That being said, as you may be familiar, if you're already familiar with the channel, you may be aware, I do already have several Makos myself. I don't intend to sell any of my bronze or stainless steel variants of them. So certainly it's not enough that I feel like you must do a fire sale on these and you have to upgrade to the titanium. But if you are in the market today, unless you have a strong leaning towards luster, unless you want the life of the patina for the bronze, or alternatively, if you want to feel a little more heft on your wrist, then I would say go for one of these. Otherwise, I think the titanium is going to be the most well-rounded for most people. If you like to feel your watch, I think this is heavy enough. It's not a featherweight. If you don't like to feel a watch, I think it's light enough that it won't be as bothersome or as noticeable as going up on the 180 grams or so with this configuration if you like the full metal setup. But overall, I really do think each of these is a winner. There's a reason I have so many in my collection. I love the different dial configurations that are available for these. You can accessorize and customize these, which, speaking of, if you do want to pick up any straps, I will have Amazon affiliate link in the description with some different strap options. If you click on any of those links and make any purchases, it does get me a small commission. It doesn't cost you anything, and it doesn't have to be just the item that's linked. So feel free to use those and make any of your Amazon purchases. It does help me out tremendously. But the ones we have here today are going to be a crown and buckle chevron. We have here, this is a cola rib, this is a wood strap, and then of course just the titanium bracelet that we've been looking at here. So you can see they really take on different characteristics, different life, depending on how you set them up and configure. And that's one of the things that I think is so beautiful about the Mako. It's solid enough to stand on its own to go in more plain, or you can customize it and go really fanciful with the different setup as well, whether you go for a tree configuration or just a more traditional with this this crown and buckle chevron strap that's kind of like a hybrid between a NATO and a Perlon there. You do have a lot of options available. So I hope this video has been helpful for you. If you are on the fence about what Mako to go with, if you did enjoy this, and could please hit that like button, that's appreciated. Also, if you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button. Helps the channel tremendously and is greatly appreciated. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Which ones of these do you have any? Or if you're looking to get one, which one's your favorite? What material do you like the best and why? I hope this video has been helpful for you. Thanks for watching.